In this course, you'll learn how to make a website which has the ability to scroll smoothly. This technique is very useful for creating startup or landing web pages or the so-called single page applications. So let's start coding, and I'm wishing you a wonderful experience while learning new things via this course. So please enjoy. Alright, so first we have a folder of images. I have saved different images which we would like to use, and most of them are in the PNG or SVG format, and only the profile pictures are in the JPEG format. Then we have three files: CSS, HTML and JS for JavaScript. So I advise you to create those three empty files together with the images you would like to have inside of the website. So when ready, we'll start structuring the website. Okay, so we'll be using custom fonts for the heading and here on the title of the website. So let's see how we can get them. We're talking about Open Sans. So first we go to fonts google.com and then we type Open Sans, and this is our font. We can select this font, and here on the selection we just grab the link how we can import it into our index file. Next we go to the index file, which is empty, and just paste the link here. Of course it will be within our HTML and head section. Next we have to do the same for the font awesome. We're using font awesome for those icons here, the profile icons and also the social media icons on the bottom. And so we go to get started section of the fontawesome.com, and then we have directly a link which we can copy and paste into our site. Once we have those files, we can test if they work. Within the body section we can just type one paragraph, and we type hello. We can also style it a little bit. We'll give Open Sans as a font family. This is just a test to see if those files are loading correctly and can be used within our HTML. Now we go to this new folder where we created. It's a working folder with an empty index of HTML file. We are loading it, and we can see that we are using the Open Sans font. We can also remove it, and we see that the font changes. Once we are ready with this, we'll start coding the next sections of the website. This means that we have to have here a link to our internal CSS file. So we'll just type it link rel equals to style sheet and a type of text CSS, and then we point to our CSS file. Once we are ready with this, we can type, for example, here one style in our CSS file, for example background green, and after we save the files we just refresh and see that our CSS file has been loading correctly, so we can start writing styles inside. We'll add a meta tag so the user doesn't have to zoom out or in order to see the images or the text in the phone, and this can be handled automatically by the phone. So we can do this with this tag. We are targeting the mobile devices, and we are telling them just to zoom in and content inside of the website. We'll do a little preloader. We want to achieve this with a simple CSS. So we have one div of class preloader, and then we have another divs inside. We grab this structure. So we are starting to write the structure. We'll make one div and with the ID of page preloader. It will hold the whole screen. On top of it will be displaying our bouncing balls. Inside we'll place another div with an ID of ball pulse, and this div will hold all the 3 balls that will be pulsating. They will be inside of 3 empty divs. So we'll just create the first and paste it 2 times more. Once we have this structure, now let's style the page preloader. So we go to our CSS, and for the page preloader we'll position it absolute or fixed. We'll give a top and a left coordinates to 0, and also we would like the color of the background to be white. Also we would like the text align so the items to be centered on it, and the width and height to be 100%, which means that we are creating one full screen white canvas on top of everything else. By doing this, for example, if we have in our body, let's say, background green, this page preloader will cover our green background. The page preloader is with the ID, so we can test this out, and we see that the background has been covered by our page preloader. If we remove the background, we can see the body color, so it's functioning. Okay, once we have done this, we will start coding the animation within the balls. So first let's create how one of them will look like. So we'll target the divs inside of the ball pools class. So this is exactly those 3 balls here, and this is the ball pool class. We're targeting all the divs inside, and we'll give them a width and height, so around 15 pixels. And then we'll make them round with border radius of 100%. We'll give them a silver color, and also we would like to display them as a block elements, but next to each other. So it will use the display inline block. Okay, if we save, by now they should appear as a 3 rounded balls here. So let's add animation to them. First, for the animation, we would like them just to scale out. We'll just use animation, and we'll call this animation ball pulse with a duration of 0.5 seconds, and we'll repeat it infinitely in time. And now let's create this animation. So we'll be using keyframes animation, and the name of our animation is ball pulse. And then we'll have to write what will happen on the 0 and in the middle of animation, and then around its end. So at the starting position, we would like to transform the balls, and we would like to scale them to 1, which means that they will start as big balls, and then around 45% we would like them to become like 10% of their size. So we will just type transform and let's say scale to 0.1. If we save and refresh here, we see that they are starting to move. Next thing we would like to do is how we can get different timings of those 3 balls. So the first will be different than the second and the third. We can specify this easily by targeting the different divs separately. In this div class, this will be the first child, the second and the third. So we'll target them like this, ball pulse div, and we are grabbing the first child, and for the first child we will delay the animation with let's say 36 seconds, animation delay of 36 seconds. if we save and refresh, we see that the first started to behave differently than the second and the third. So we can do the same for the second and the third. We'll just choose different numbers here for the animation delay. Let's say 24 and 12 here. We save, and now we have our preview done. When we would like to remove this preview and show the content of the website, so if we have let's say here it starts the website and it displays hello. If we refresh right now, everything is covered. So far the page preloader is being displayed as a block or a fixed element. If we display it to none, we see that our content here appears. We would like to do this in JavaScript. So first we would like to know whether all those elements are loaded in the page. So we will just catch the document content loaded event from the browser, like this document at event listener, and it's a special event which is called document content loaded. And then when we have it, we will start our special function. So this function inside will have what we would like to happen when all the content is loaded. Document query selector, and then we will just grab our page preloader, and to its style we'll change it to be equal to none. Okay, if we save and refresh, we see that nothing happens because we haven't included our JavaScript in our file. So we can include it, let's say, near the closing tag of the body. We'll just type script source equals to gs. This is our JavaScript file, and we can type, of course, that it's of text JavaScript, and we will close the script tag. So this way, we say refresh, we can see that the change is happening very fast. So this display property of none is applied very fast, so we have to delay it somehow. We'll be using the set timeout function for this, and so we'll just type set timeout, and inside of this function we'll place our code. We'll run an anonymous function, so this function will be delayed. So inside of this function we'll have our code, and the next parameter we have to specify for how long we would like to delay it. Let's say it will be 1 second. Once we are ready with this code, and we see after 1 second the loading is disappearing, and our website content is appearing, exactly what we would like to achieve. Next, we go to the index file and we'll start working on the header of the website. We'll just type header, and inside we'll have a navigation with a nav tag. We'll start writing our navigation. First off, we would like to have our logo, so we'll give it a ID of top logo of this div here. Inside of this div we'll have one icon for the logo and the title of our website. We'll place everything inside of anchor tag. So let's say that we would like to target a link, and then inside we'll type image source equals to our directory of images, and we'll be using logo svg as our logo, then the title of our website. So if we save and refresh, we see our website is appearing. Right now we are not targeting exactly the image, so we'll correct this by just copying the images directory into our working files. And now we have one big image SVG, and then we have our website name displayed below. We'll manage this later with the styling to make it appear better. Here we'll place this inside of one span tag. We'll give it an ID of logo. Okay, when we are ready, it's time to go to the navigation. We would like to have one hidden icon which will be displayed when we are targeting browsers of mobile devices. We'll give it an ID of menu icon. For now, we'll make this menu icon invisible. Our menu will be like this, UL, with the ID of menu. And then inside we'll have different UI tags. Inside of each tag we can have links pointing to different sections of the website. For example, section 3, and some of them will be active. This is done for usability. So let's say this is a theme, and we're closing the tag. So we can create a few more links like this. Section 1, section 2, maybe contacts we'll place here. Okay, let's see our website up to now. We have our menu here, and now it's time to style it a little bit. So for this image we would like to make it appear smaller, and this is inside of our div an A of nav, which has an ID of top logo. So we'll just target the top logo, and then the image tag, give it a width of 2.5 rems. When we save and refresh, we see, okay, this is our logo, then we have the heading, and this is our menu. So we would like this text to appear in the middle of this logo, so we'll be using a flex attribute for this, and we'll be targeting the top logo once again. We'll be targeting, actually it's a href, because inside of this A we have those two elements, the image and the span, and we would like to align exactly those two. So we'll type color of white. We'll give a text decoration of none, and also the important thing is to be displayed as a flex, and then we can align the items inside of this href. So we'll use align items center. So the moment we do this, we see that our text is aligned center next to the logo. Although it's now painted with white, we can fix this by correcting the color of the header. So for the header, we'll start styling it. First off, we would like to span at 100% of its width. So we'll type width 100%, and we'll give some background color. If we refresh, we see our header here with both our menu and a logo here. So the next thing, we would like to have it as a fixed, so it can stay all over the place while we are scrolling. And also we will give a z-index of 1. This is because we would like it to appear in front of the content which is scrolling behind. So let's style this. We're continuing with the header tag. We'll give a position of fixed. Then we'll fix it to the top. We'll give a z-index in order to appear in front of our other elements, and it will make it a slightly transparent. 0.95% of opacity will give. If we refresh, nothing should be changed so much. If we create some content below the header, let's say we type lorem at the top a few times, we copy this content a few times, and we refresh, we see that our header is staying in front of the content, and when we scroll, it actually stays in place and the content is scrolling downwards. This is the effect we achieved with this position of fixed and the setting this of 1. Let's now place those items here up. Okay, for the navigation, we'll display it flex, and again the same rule, we use align items to center. Okay, now they are centered across the whole menu section, and now we'll do the same for the LI tags here. So we'll be targeting nav UL. We'll copy those lines, and we'll remove the dots from the menu. So by list style type to none, we'll be giving this property, and we'll remove the margin and the padding from the items, because the UL is adding such properties. Once we are ready, we can refresh. We see our menu appearing here. Actually, those menus are stacked to each other, so we'll give a little bit of padding to the left of LI tags. So we are targeting nav LI, and we give padding to the left of 2.1 REMs. When we refresh, we have our menu here nicely displayed. Okay, let's continue with the styling of the menu. We would like the active tags to be displayed with a full opacity and to be bold. Okay, we better change the color to white of all the other items to see the changes happening easily. So color white, and the opacity we'll lower it to 0.6. Okay, let's see now the code. So this is our menu, but now everything has an active class here, so we should correct our code here. Only one link should be active. Let's say contacts will be active, just to see the difference. And we see, yeah, the contacts are active. We'll remove this text decoration to underline. Okay, that's better. So we can style our body now. We can do this in the beginning of the CSS. So for the body, we'll just give it margin and padding of 0. We'll give a certain font size of 20 pixels, and the color. We'll increase the line height to 1.75 to have more spacing between the text lines. And for the font family, we'll give Open Sans, our downloaded font. So when we save and refresh, we see our website is starting to appear more nicely. The next thing we would like to do is to start having different sections. So within these sections we can navigate here with those links just locally. So we'll separate this code into sections. We'll place them in one div. So it will be a section with the ID of section 1, and this section will end here. The other section will be with a section of 2 until here, and with the section of 3, let's say until here. Let's not forget to close the div. Maybe we can type some headers here about the sections. Let's say it will be something like h1 tag. We close the h1 tag. Then for the section 2 we'll be having, for example, h3 tag. Okay. Now we save, refresh. We can clearly see our sections where they start and end. So by this we can scroll through the different sections. Now let's make this scroll smooth. we will make it with JavaScript. We will code it here, and then we'll paste this in our JS file. We will grab both all the links within the page as well as the header links, like this. Var else equals to document query selector all, and we would like to target the nav.li a tags. And if we type on the console what's inside of else, we'll see that we have all the 3 links here on the header saved inside of this variable. We'll do the same, but this time we will grab all the tags inside of the whole page, and we'll call them links. And inside of the links we'll have actually 5 links. Then we'll loop through all those links, so we can just type for, and then var e equals 0, e less than the link's length, and then we'll increase the I counter. And then inside of this loop, let's just show what's inside of our links with the index of I. So we have all the 5 links here, and let's check if they are pointing to our page and our URL, or if they are outgoing somewhere else. For this, let's create another link in our content. For example, a link to, let's say, google.com, and we refresh our code for grabbing our links. Like this, our loop will grab even the Google link, and we don't want when we click on the such link to stay on the page. So we would like to target only the internal links within our smooth scrolling. Inside of our loop, we can check if those links are internal or external. So we'll make a little variable var link equals to the current links index. And then we will check if the link is on the same host name. This means that it's a local link and the URL is not changing. So we can just type for this check location host name. If it equals to the link's host name, only then we would like to print out the link. So if we run this code, we see that we managed to get all the links except the link to the external website. Then we will have to make some other checks on the code. We would like to target links with this sign in front of them. We can do this by using a regular expression, and I'll just paste here the regular expression and then explain it. So this expression actually looks if we have a trailing slash here and removes it, and then use a comparison to check if the links are the same between what is written here and what is in our content. The last check is whether we have this sign in front of our link. So we can do a third check, and we will type link.hash.replace, and we'll replace this sign with nothing. Okay, so the moment this condition is true, we will show our links. So we see that we are showing only the 3 links which are in the header, because we excluded all the other links which were empty links or links which point to nowhere. Okay, once we are ready with this, we would like the moment we click on those links, some of those links, if they are with a class of active, to remove this class from them, to be easier for users to navigate and see the links in bold. So for this, inside of our loop, instead of displaying the links, we'll make another loop which will loop through all those links which we have saved already in a variable ELS, and clear the active class from them. So let's type for var j equals to 0, j less than the eos.length, we'll increase the j, and then inside of this loop we would like all the elements of EOS class names to be cleared of active. So we type class list, remove, and what we would like to remove from there, and it's this class active. So far that's the code. When we run this code, we see that we removed the active class from the links, and it's good to run this code actually when we click on certain link here. So we'll add an event listener for click, and it will run this function. The moment we click on a certain link, we'll remove the class active from it. Okay, so we have this code, and when we rerun it and click on some of the links, we see that the active link is no longer contacts, but it should be in the team. So maybe it's time to add the class list of active to the team. So we edit the code, and inside of the click function, we want to target this element we clicked on. So we type this class list, this time add and active. When we run this code and click on the links here, we see that it works. All right, so we would like now, in order for our smooth scrolling to happen, to prevent the default actions from the browser. So inside of here, we would like to capture the event, and here we just type e.prevent default. And this was just a maintenance of our code, but it will ensure that our animation of the smooth scrolling will happen nicely. Then we would like to grab the link section which we are scrolling into. So we'll just type var target equals to this hash, and we would like to check if our target length exists. We are doing this check in order to see if such section here actually exists. So not to click on invalid section, and then if it exists, we'll like just to pass it to a function called scroll. So we type window.scroll, and inside of this function we'll fill in its parameters. For now it will accept 3 parameters. The element we would like to scroll for its top position, then the left position. For the left we'll grab 0 as a coordinate, and the behavior will be smooth. So in order to get the coordinates of our target element, we can use the query selector function. So we type document query selector, and inside of this function we pass our target element, and then we would like to grab its top coordinate. So it's just offset top here. Okay, so when we run the function and click somewhere on the document, we see that it starts to scroll smoothly, and we achieve this with this function. So we can grab all the code here and copy and paste into our JavaScript. Of course, not to forget the first few lines about grabbing the elements before. So we will paste those elements here also. The navigational links and all the links, because they are needed in the function. So when we save and refresh the page, we see that we have a scrolling functionality embedded into our website. Okay, now the scrolling works as expected. We would like, when we have mobile browsers, to hide those links here in the navigation, and to display a menu for navigation. When we click on the menu, it should show our navigation as before, and when we click outside, it should hide it. Also, this action could be triggered by this button here. So let's see how we can code this. First, we'll go to our CSS file, and we'll place a special condition for the browsers which maximally can display the width of 640 pixels. For those browsers, we would like to hide the navigation, so we will just type nav.ul and here display to none. If we save and refresh the code, we will see that the moment we are getting at lower width, the navigation here is hidden. So this is the first part. Then we would like, instead of this navigation, to show our menu icon here. So we are trying to style this link here with the ID of menu icon. So in the CSS, we write ID of menu icon, and first it will be not shown to the users, so it will be display none. Then we'll set up width and height, because we are going to use an image for the icon. So width of 40 pixels as well as height. And then for the background, we use our image. We'll use menu icon.png and we'll center the background. So let's test the code. If we refresh, here is our new code for the icon, and it's displayed to none. If we uncheck the display state, we see our menu. So for now, this is okay. So next, let's trigger this display to block on our mobile devices. So we have to go again for the style sheet for mobile devices and just trigger the display to block on the menu icon. So if we refresh and test, we see that on the mobile devices we have this menu icon, and on the other devices we have the navigation. Also, if we type margin left to auto, we can see that the menu icon is displayed on the right corner. So we use this also in our style sheet for the mobile devices. Okay, for now the navigation is set to display to none. Let's style it up a little bit so it can be shown nicely in mobile screens. For this, we would like to have some padding in the navigation, so we'll change the padding to 20 pixels. Next, we'll give some background color. It will be in the shade of white. We will also put a border of 5 pixels. For now, this is the style sheet of nav.ul, so we can copy those changes and set it up in our CSS. A rule for the nav.ul here. Next, we would like those links to appear with their normal color, because now they are white on white. So here we have to change the color of the href. So we'll just copy this rule here, and in our style sheet we'll just give it a color of black. So let's refresh. Okay, so far the menu looks like this, and we can continue styling it. For example, we would like our UL to be displayed as flex. And we can also say that the flex information should flow as a column. With this method, we use a flex box to display our items one after each other and to save some space. One thing left is just to remove this padding from the LI. So we will just type padding 0. So now we have our menu for the mobile devices. We'll copy the style for the nav LI into our style sheet. The next thing we would like to do is to trigger the displaying of this menu when we click on this icon here. For this, we'll set another CSS class is visible. So we'll type is visible, and inside we'll type this display flex and flex flow column. So if we refresh our code, initially the UL is with a display of none, and the moment we will add another class to this UL, so if we type class equals to is visible, we see that the menu appears the way we like it. With this technique, we are just adding one new CSS class, which will change the ordering of the menu items.